Have you ever wondered why some women, after decades of marriage, start to feel distant from their husbands? What makes a woman who once admired her partner begin to withdraw, to lose that spark, to feel indifferent? It's a reality many couples face, yet few talk about: the slow fading of affection. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not about falling out of love, but realizing what love truly needs to feel alive. And surprisingly, the reasons aren't always what you'd expect. They're practical, even mundane, but they add up over time. Unspoken words, unmet needs, overlooked moments. Today we're diving deep into why women, as they age, start feeling differently about their husbands and what can be done to change that before it's too late. Whether you're a husband trying to understand, a wife seeking clarity, or just curious about the complexities of long-term relationships, stay with me until the end. This conversation might just change the way you see love, aging, and marriage forever. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exploring life's most important lessons together. Let's get started. Number 1. The emotional labor becomes too heavy for years. Women often take on the role of emotional caretakers in their marriages. They remember birthdays, plan family gatherings, schedule doctor's appointments, and keep the household running smoothly. But as the years go by, this invisible burden becomes too heavy. They begin to realize that while they've been carrying all of this emotional responsibility, their husbands have simply been existing comfortably within the marriage, without much worry. This creates an emotional imbalance that most men don't even notice, but women feel deeply. Imagine a wife who, for decades, has been the backbone of every major and minor decision in the family, from choosing schools for the kids, planning family vacations, to caring for aging parents. She's constantly anticipating everyone's needs, but when she needs someone to lean on, no one's there. It's not that her husband doesn't love her, he's just become so accustomed to her managing everything. This doesn't just make her feel lonely, it makes her feel unappreciated. As the years go by, the exhaustion from shouldering everything becomes more apparent than ever. She starts to wonder if this is what she's destined to endure for the rest of her life. And the heartbreaking truth is that resentment silently builds up over time, making her feel more distant from the man she once adored. Number 2. A lack of meaningful communication. In the early years of marriage, conversations were deep and emotionally rich. It was a time when they couldn't wait to ask each other, "How was your day? What are you thinking about?" Or, "What are your dreams?" They shared everything, from grand aspirations to the smallest, most trivial thoughts. But as time went on, many husbands gradually stopped engaging in these meaningful dialogues. Instead, conversations became dull, predictable, or worse, non-existent. The only questions left were, "Have you eaten?" or "Was today okay?" The deep emotional connection slowly faded away, leaving behind heavy silences. A woman doesn't just need physical presence, she craves emotional companionship. When her husband no longer engages in meaningful conversations, she begins to feel unseen, unheard, and ultimately unappreciated. She misses the days when they could talk for hours, laugh together, and truly connect on a soul-deep level. But now, laughter is replaced by silence, and curiosity is replaced by indifference. Imagine a wife trying to share her deepest thoughts about life, about her feelings, only to be met with a half-hearted nod or eyes glued to a phone screen. It's not just disappointing, it's the feeling of being abandoned within her own marriage. When meaningful conversations disappear, loneliness begins to creep in, even while living under the same roof. Number 3. The burden of housework never ends. When they got married, she accepted housework as a natural part of family life. She didn't mind cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the home because that was her way of showing love. But as the years went by, that role never changed. Even after both of them retired, the chores continued to pile up on her shoulders without any relief. She wondered why she was still doing everything when he had more free time than ever before. It wasn't just about washing dishes or folding laundry. It was the feeling of being trapped in an endless cycle, as if this responsibility was solely hers and he never truly saw it. Every time she looked at the dirty dishes stacked in the sink or clothes scattered around the house, she felt not only exhaustion, but also a growing resentment, slowly building up over the years. She remembered one afternoon when she bent down to scrub the floor, her back aching and her hands weary. He sat on the couch, eyes glued to the TV, seemingly unaware or unconcerned about the burden she was carrying alone. Not a single offer to help, not even a glance of empathy. She felt invisible, more like a housekeeper than a life partner. But the truth is, she didn't need him to do everything. She just wanted him to acknowledge her contribution, to understand that housework wasn't solely her responsibility. She longed for partnership and shared effort, not indifference and disregard. She wanted him to voluntarily wash the dishes after dinner, or at least ask if she needed help. It wasn't about the chores. It was about him showing that she mattered and was valued in his life. Number 4. She outgrows the relationship, but he doesn't. As women age, they often yearn to explore the world beyond their familiar boundaries. They seek to learn new things, engage in social activities, and grow intellectually and spiritually. It's how they continue to feel alive, vibrant, and evolving. But when their husbands don't share this same desire, an invisible gap begins to form. She wants to try a new dance class, but he just wants to sit and watch TV. She's excited about planning a trip, but he sees no reason to leave his favorite spot on the couch. When she attends community events and expands her social circle, he refuses to meet anyone new. At first, she tries to convince him to join her, but after countless rejections, she goes alone. The problem isn't just his refusal to participate, it's the difference in their spirits. She feels herself moving forward, discovering new dimensions of life, while he remains stuck in his routine, comfortable with the past. This disconnect creates an ever-widening emotional distance, leaving her feeling like she's outgrowing the marriage itself. She doesn't want to leave him behind, but she also doesn't want to hold herself back. She longs for a partner who will walk beside her, exploring, learning, and growing together. What she needs isn't merely someone to share space with, but someone who faces the world with her, laughing, learning, and experiencing life side by side. Number 5. A loss of physical and emotional intimacy. Intimacy isn't just about physical closeness, it's about feeling emotionally connected, feeling desired and cherished. In the early days of love, a tender glance or a gentle touch could make the heart flutter. But over time, many couples lose that spark. And for a woman, this loss can feel like a sign that love is fading. Imagine a wife who once felt the passion in her husband's eyes every time he looked at her. But now, his gaze merely passes over her as a habit, without the sparkle of desire it once held. As intimacy gradually fades, she not only feels lonely within her own home, but also begins to feel invisible, as if she no longer matters. This pain doesn't come from the lack of physical closeness, but from the loss of emotional connection. When a woman no longer feels desired, when she no longer senses genuine affection, she starts questioning her own worth. She wonders if she is still attractive, if she still matters to the man she loves. Number 6. Retirement changes everything, but not always for the better. Retirement is often romanticized as the golden chapter of life, a time to relax and enjoy each other's company. But for many couples, it becomes a challenging test of their marriage when suddenly they're together all day, every day. Many men enter retirement without a clear plan, shifting from the busyness of work to long empty days. And unfortunately, this often means the wife suddenly becomes responsible for filling her husband's time. He expects her to plan every activity, be his constant companion, and sometimes even his full-time caregiver. This can leave the wife feeling overwhelmed, as if the burden of responsibility never truly lifts. Instead of retirement being a time of relaxation and freedom, she may feel suffocated, as though she's lost the independence she had long looked forward to. If the husband lacks his own hobbies, outside friendships, or purpose after retirement, he may unintentionally become an emotional burden on his wife. She may start to feel that she's not just his wife, but his entertainment committee, always responsible for his happiness. This easily leads to silent resentment, gradually eroding the love and patience she once had. Number 7. She no longer feels hurt, heard, or appreciated. One of the most silent pains in a marriage isn't fighting, it's feeling invisible. Many women, after years of being the emotional cornerstone of their families, reach a point where they realize their voice is no longer being heard. They express concerns, share their feelings, and try to engage in meaningful conversations, but all they receive in return is indifference or superficial responses. Their husbands may think they are listening, but in reality, they are just waiting for their turn to speak. A wife doesn't need grand gestures or flowery compliments. She just needs to know that her thoughts and feelings matter. She wants to be seen, to be heard, and more importantly, to be understood. But when day after day, she realizes that nothing she says makes a difference, the feeling of invisibility begins to take root. She starts to wonder, do I even matter to him anymore? This feeling quietly eats away at her soul. She retreats emotionally, no longer sharing her deepest thoughts. Sometimes she wants to cry, but can't find a clear reason why. It's the pain of not being heard, of not being understood. And when a woman feels ignored for long enough, she stops trying. She stops seeking attention, stops looking for validation from her husband. But the moment she stops trying is also the moment the love starts to fade. Not because she no longer loves him, but because she no longer has the strength to love someone who doesn't see her worth. And as silent resentment builds, the emotional distance between them grows wider and wider, making it nearly impossible to bridge the gap. Number 8. She realizes life is short and she wants more. As people grow older, they begin to see life differently. They lose friends, they attend more funerals, and they realize that time is finite. For many women, this realization makes them look at their marriage through an entirely new lens. She starts asking herself tough questions. Am I truly happy? Do I feel loved? Is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? And if the answers leave her feeling unfulfilled, she might begin to withdraw. Not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. Many women reach a stage where they no longer want to fight. They don't want to nag, they don't want to beg for attention, and they certainly don't want to feel like they're carrying the weight of the marriage alone. Instead, they focus on their own happiness. And if their husband doesn't understand this, they quietly create emotional distance, and sometimes even physical distance. This isn't about revenge. It's about protecting themselves from feeling abandoned within their own marriage. Take Linda, for example, who's been married for over 40 years. When her husband retired, she hoped they would have more time to do fun things together, just like they used to when they first got married. But instead, he spent hours in front of the TV, showing no interest in planning outings or even asking about her feelings. Linda felt like a shadow in her own home, and the pain wasn't because she stopped loving him, but because she felt invisible to the man she had spent her life with. This is what many women in long-term marriages face. Love doesn't vanish in a dramatic moment. It gradually fades away through unspoken words, indifferent looks, and absent gestures of affection. It diminishes when a woman realizes she's spent her entire life caring for others, but hasn't received the same consideration in return. It disappears when she feels that whether she's there or not, nothing would change. And then, she starts thinking about time. The time she's given, the time she has left. She begins to wonder if she wants to spend her remaining precious years in a relationship where she feels trapped. Not because she doesn't love him anymore, but because she wants more than just existing in someone else's life. As women grow older, they yearn for meaning and connection. They want to be seen not just as a wife or a mother, but as an individual with her own emotions and dreams. When she no longer feels valued or cherished, she begins to drift away, not with hurtful words, but with silence, not with anger, but with indifference. And when this happens, it's not a sign of an immediate end, but a quiet closing that happens over time. This isn't the story of just one marriage, it's the story of many marriages, and it rarely ends with a dramatic fight. Instead, love withers away in the silence of things left unsaid, in the absence of touch, and in the quiet tears that fall when no one is watching. When we reach the later years of life, relationships are not about grand romantic gestures. They are about presence, understanding, and respect. When a woman starts feeling distant from her husband, it's rarely because she simply stopped loving him. More often, it's because she no longer feels seen or appreciated. This is the story of many marriages. Love doesn't disappear in one dramatic moment. It fades away in the little, unnoticed moments, when a woman feels unheard, when she bears the emotional burdens alone, and when she reaches out for support but finds only silence. But does it have to be this way? Love is a choice, and just as it fades, it can also be rekindled. If you're a husband watching this video, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened to your wife? When was the last time you showed your appreciation, not just as a partner, but as a person? And if you're a wife feeling disconnected, is there still room to rebuild that bond? Marriage isn't about reaching a destination. It's about continuously choosing each other, even when the years have changed you. It's about making small efforts to say, I still see you, I still value you, you still matter to me. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. Love doesn't fade with age. It fades when we stop nurturing it. If you want to keep your relationship alive and vibrant in the later years, it's never too late to start. Choose love, choose understanding, and most importantly, choose each other. As we journey through life, love doesn't just fade, it evolves. Sometimes it gets quieter, hidden beneath years of routine, unspoken words, and moments taken for granted. But here's the truth, it doesn't have to end there. If today's video has you reflecting, maybe even feeling a little vulnerable, that's a good thing. It means you still care. It means there's still time. So, here's my challenge to you. When was the last time you really listened, not just heard, but truly listened, to your partner? When did you last show them that they're seen, valued, and loved? And if you're the one feeling invisible, is there still a part of you that wants to reconnect? Drop a comment below with one insight you're taking away, or one change you're ready to make. Let's start a conversation that matters. And hey, if this video made you think or feel, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe for more honest conversations about love, life, and everything in between. Until next time, remember, love isn't about never growing apart. It's about finding your way back to each other.